Hello. Today I will be doing another grief share. Um, Kind of what I wanted to focus on today was um some of the areas that I've been experiencing that cause so much excuse me, so much grief in my life. Um, I've tried to touch on some of them in the past. I think it was um, some of the relationships with my parents. Um, excuse me, sorry, I'm still getting over a chest cold. Um, but so I've been dealing with some problems with my parents, not being able to communicate with them. Um, I've also had like PTSD. I have PMDD. Some things that have kept me from working. That's another stress on my life. Um, Problems in the church that I was going to that made me leave. I think that was a little bit what I talked about too. I know I haven't talked about the job too much, situation that I'm in, but um, I guess basically I just haven't been able to work because of all the bad symptoms that I have that go along with um, the the things that I've been through in life. I do think I mentioned some of those physical things that I went through. So of course there's the physical things that are making things difficult for me too. But today I wanted to talk a little bit more about some of the problems that I've had in my personal relationship. But I mean, I kind of have to go back in time to really explain it all. I I know I've talked about this quite a bit, but I guess I'll try to go over it again. Growing up, I had a very difficult home life with an abusive mother. I think I talked about how she was verbally abusive and things like that, and I just wanted to talk a little bit more about like how even when she wasn't like raising her voice or being directly destructive, she was very destructive in the fact that like um she was just very negative. She was never positive. She never said kind things. Um like and again, I'm not trying to bash her or anything like that, but I never felt like a sense of love from her. I I would, you know, come home and she'd look at my hair and tell me she thought it needed highlights or um she'd she never she never gave you any positive praise. It was never anything like, "Oh, you did a good job." I mean, the closest thing I remember was we had an agreement if I made good grades that I would get like $10 for a B or something like that. But I never remember her saying you did a good job. To be fair, I'm not saying that she never did. I think she did in her own way, but there were just so many things that were negative. Um, if I ever made a mistake, if I tripped and fell on the ground, I'd hear, "Well, I told you not to wear those shoes," or excuse me. Um, she'd always have some kind of thing to say that I don't know if she's trying to be funny or helpful. I mean, um, I don't really think that she knew what she was doing looking back, but I'm just trying to recognize that there was a lot of damage done. And another good example is one time she went on vacation and um well she went on vacation before and she'd come back and she'd say, "Oh, you left the kitchen such a mess." And so one time when she went on vacation, I decided to clean the kitchen for her. And um like I've always had a problem with like food smells and smells coming from a trash and stuff. And excuse me, she would sometimes make things that stank and left it in the trash. And so I remember just trying to clean as much as I could. I took all the dishes out of the sink and wiped the counters and um, did things that I knew she cared about, but I didn't empty the trash. And she came home, and not once did I hear anything about how nice the kitchen looked. It was just, it was just, well, you didn't take the trash out, did you? Um, and like, looking back now, it's not the same level of pain that it was in the moment because, um, I think living with her, I just really wanted to please her, and I felt like I had to earn her love. So, I mean, all these things were huge levels of rejection and huge blows to what I felt, wanting so badly to hear, I guess, some positive things like, what you're wearing looks nice and stuff like that. And again, I don't have the best memory. She may have said it. I think some of the negative things really override in my mind now because there was just a lot of it, and it was very hard to get over, and it leaves like this lasting impression in your mind that you just can't seem to let go of. But I'm sure she said some positive things. I have a very hard time remembering it. Um so as you can see, I'm still trying to get over some of the negative things that she said, um the things that felt insulting, hurtful, and things like that. But like overall, I came out of my childhood feeling very unloved, really needing certain things, I think, um, which brings me to, when I got married, I still had all those needs, and I just really didn't know what to do about it. I think that's why you see a lot of people doing things, I guess drugs, it's probably the best example, but doing self-destructive things to try to get through, um, I guess if you want to call it a void, the lack of love they feel from, um, maybe just not getting enough love from their parents' childhood. I guess I've talked about my mother quite a bit, but my father was a drug addict, and they got divorced when I was about 8 years old, and my mother remarried my stepfather, and um, my father was very loving from what I remember, but my mother tried to distance herself from him as much as possible, and we stopped being around him. I think we were allowed to see him once or twice a year, so that made quite an impact on feeling, um, basically abandoned. Anyway, um, when she married my stepdad, he was never really a mean man or anything like that, which is a positive. Like my mother was very mean, so my stepdad kind of gave a better example of kindness and things like that. I mean, he had his moments, but I just overall he just wasn't a mean person. He didn't raise his voice very often. He was kind of more passive aggressive, which I'm not saying that's not hurtful, but it just it gave me more respect for him, I guess I would say it like that. But um, he just wasn't. I don't know if it's because he was a stepfather, but like he never really had a whole lot of like love that I felt like he was um giving, and I know um love is kind of subjective, but um like he was a great provider, but I don't want to say that means love. It did give me respect. I just didn't feel like there was a connection. That was another problem with my mother too. We just didn't have much in common. We just couldn't communicate very much. My sister had more in common with her, I think. But um, anyway, these things led me to just feeling like I just wasn't really loved the way that I wanted to be loved. Which again, like I was saying, led me into to my relationship, into my marriage. And and I think that has led me into a lot of like pain in marriage. And um I mean, I guess there's good things about it too, but I'm mostly trying to focus on the pain because it it really, I guess it just leads me to a lot of grief. So I guess I guess what I'd say about my husband is like he has a way that he tries to love me, but like it's not really necessarily what I'm looking for. Like I was saying, because my parents didn't ever give me a lot of praise. Sometimes I feel like that's what I want to hear, compliments. And I know people can say that kind of stuff is debating. I mean, not debating, enabling, but it's just the language of love I think I learned. And unfortunately, since I've been told to have a baby, I feel like um I know this may sound weird, but like um the birth control that I was using, and some of the um natural things I was doing to help me feel better physically were kind of sustaining me to a better place. And having that taken away has exposed a lot of pain. And I can't explain to you exactly why. Um it just helped me be in a better place mentally. Um I know it's not going to make sense to say, well, my birth control made me feel loved. I mean, I don't think it was like that, but I definitely felt more content with life. I didn't feel um so low. But you know, I have to face the facts. It was probably always there. So so I'm trying to say that like it's not always been bad. It just feels worse recently. Because for whatever reason, um you know, maybe the birth control helped me not be so sensitive, or things like that. But conflicts with my husband seem to be getting more often and worse, harder to tolerate maybe. I think it's because it's such a low level of feeling unloved and not getting the things that I feel like I need. It just feels worse. So um I know you're probably thinking we'll just take the birth control. Well, I I don't really know if that's what God wants. You know, he says have a baby, so I'm trying to um do everything to not keep myself from having one. So um anyway, I'm still trying to figure that one out. But I just I think it's important to recognize that like um marriage comes with a lot of problems, and I'm not trying to be negative. It comes with positives too, but um you know, trying to live with anybody is very difficult. It feels like you have to um find a way not to get on somebody's nerves. They have to find a way not to get on your nerves. um you know, you're just so closely around them all the time. But um I think it's difficult with the upbringing I had, because you know, I just wasn't taught a lot of communication skills. And I feel very much like, because I wasn't listened to growing up, that it's kind of hard to tolerate when I don't feel listened to in my current life. Like I've struggled many times just to try to talk to my mother, to try to um I guess be heard. And when I say listen to, there's all kinds of different ways to listen. I remember reaching out to her one time and telling her that I had a bad child. Well, I felt like I had a bad childhood, and she said, well, when she's feeling bad, she reads this Bible verse. And it just really didn't make me feel heard. It didn't make me feel listened to. Of course, a lot of rejection. So I'm sure I still carry those feelings with me. And I mean, naturally, I think everybody hurts when they don't feel heard. Um, so I guess that's what I feel a lot of times. Now, um, I do kind of feel like I send signals that push people away. I feel like I've always been that way. Um, so I can't help but look at myself and say, how can I, you know, stop being so mean or whatever? How can I stop pushing people away? I know that that kind of factors in, but you know, I think we tend to just focus on our own pain, probably too much. Um, so it kind of just stands out to you. Um, but I think that's why I have this grief share to, you know, give an outlet for people who really are feeling these things and they just don't know where to share it, how to share it. Most people don't even want to hear it. I mean, I think like I've said on previous videos, I've tried to share the pain that I've went through in my past at churches. Um, I guess I've tried to share it with friends too. Well, co-workers, associates. Um, it's not really accepted. So, um, I want to create a safer space to share these things. Anyway, that's kind of the aspects of what I've been going through. I've had a lot of problems in my life with personal relationships on top of the things that I'm already going through. So, you know, it adds up to be like 4 or 5 things that kind of pile up. And that's why I don't want to make it sound like, well, you know, grief that we go through is just one thing. It's not one thing. A lot of times it tends to be multiple things piled on top of each other, and it's not just one day. These things pile up, and they stay piled up sometimes for years, and that's what gives you the grief. So um, I guess if you're trying to figure out what kind of grief you're going through, it's good to kind of figure out what is causing you the most pain and how long you've had to deal with it. That will kind of help you know why you're feeling what you're feeling. But anyway, I'm not going to go any further than that, and I hope that you enjoy this video.